And we turn now to New Jersey Governor Chris Christie, who joins us from his home in Mendham. Hello, Governor. I want to start with Russia. You, when you campaigned, said America is the strongest moral power for what is good and what is right in the world. Given what President Trump said about Vladimir Putin, is that consistent with your view of America's moral voice in the world?
Listen, there's no question in my mind that America is the moral leader of the world. America has to set that tone. And we're going to continue to do that, I suspect, through this administration's policies and our approach. So I have no question in my mind that America is morally superior to Russia. And I said that when I was running for president. I say it when I'm asked here in New Jersey, and I'm saying it to you this morning.
And what do you make of the president's comments, not only the comparison on killers, but also this question of respecting Vladimir Putin, who's a person who's annexed land in the Ukraine, who's interfered in American elections, who has basically broken apart Russian democracy? What kind of a signal does that send, given what you just said about America's necessary moral voice in the world?
Well, John, listen, I've known the president for 15 years, and I know exactly what he meant by those comments yesterday. He respects Vladimir Putin because he believes that the leaders of countries deserve to get treated with respect. He wants to be treated with respect around the world, and he believes Vladimir Putin should be. But it doesn't mean that he agrees with him. It doesn't mean that he won't fight him, and it doesn't mean that he won't stand up to him. And as far as his back and forth with Bill O'Reilly, let me tell you, I've had hundreds and hundreds of conversations with the president over the years. The president likes to volley back and forth with people. And when he's being challenged, he likes to challenge back. But the fact of the matter is, I know President Trump believes that America is morally superior to Russia. I know that he'll stand up and be tough with Vladimir Putin. But I also know that he believes that a world where people are speaking with each other, dialoguing, cooperating, is a potentially safer world than one when we're constantly in conflict.
Let me switch to this question about the president's executive order on immigration. Do you think this judge has overreached in his ruling?
I think the judge is wrong on this one. And I think the fact that you have a Massachusetts federal judge disagreeing shows the resiliency and the strength of our Constitution. This is ultimately going to be resolved by the courts as it moves its way up. And I want to say this. I think the president deserves great credit in moving from where he began in the campaign, which was a Muslim ban, which I at the time said I completely disagreed with. The president has listened to experts and advisors over the course of time when he first made that statement, to this executive order, which is tailored and direct to try to deal with 7 countries that are having a difficult time dealing with their own ability to control travel of their own people and policing of their own people. I would make it even more tailored if I were advising the president on this directly, but the president has moved an incredible distance from a Muslim ban to where he is now. And the fact is that the reason his opponents are able to attack him, and I believe unfairly, on the substance, is because it was implemented in such a haphazard way in that first weekend. And so the president deserves better. The policy is much, much better than where the president began during the campaign. I think that shows this is a president who's willing to listen to experts, willing to listen to advisors, and willing to amend earlier positions in order to try to keep America safe and have us have good relationships around the world.
All right, Governor Christie, we're going to take a brief break here, and I want to pick up on some of the things you just said on the other side of the commercial, so stay with us. And we're back with New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Governor, I want to talk to you about what you called that haphazard rollout of this. When you were U.S. Attorney and as governor, you'd work with Muslim Americans because you argued, or at least I remember you explaining that you argued, that good relations in the Muslim community help with law enforcement, help with those connections to do the business law enforcement has to do. Do you think there was any damage in the way this was rolled out, presented, not really explained, that affect that portion and views in the Muslim American community?
Well, listen, I think that, you said earlier in your question to the vice president, is there a need to start over? I don't think there's a need to start over, but I do think there is a need for the administration to make sure they're very, very clear on this. I know the president's hard on this. The president has absolutely no hate in his heart for Muslim Americans. In fact, the exact opposite. This is a president who has great affection for all Americans who are here working hard, raising their families and contributing to the fabric of our society, including Muslim Americans. But this is what happens when things are not explained the right way from the beginning and are not implemented in a way that respects the process and is very careful about it. And that's why I said earlier in the week that the president was not well served by this. Now this means that he has to go out, and the administration needs to go out and make sure that they make his point of view clear. But I can tell the American people, oh, who knows? You know, listen, I'm not inside the White House, and this isn't about assigning blame. This is about making sure that it's done the right way. And so in the end, I believe the president deserved better, and because I know his heart, and I know what the president wants more than anything else. He wants to keep the American people safe and secure. And that's all the American people, whether you're Christian, Jewish, Muslim, or any other religion that we have. Listen, John, I'm the governor of the most ethnically diverse state in this country. And I understand that everybody has cares and concerns, not only about their own ethnicity, their own religious colleagues, but also about everyone else in America. That's what the president's trying to do here. I believe in his heart on this one.
But let me ask you again about, you've talked about his heart, but you've also said this was haphazard, which suggests some fallout. You are not without insight on the way he works and the way the people around him work. So I'm going to try you again on this. Whose fault is it, and why did it happen? You have an answer in your head. Tell it to us.
John, I'm glad to see you've got ESP going for you this morning. I don't have an answer in my head, John, because I wasn't there. I don't know who the president made responsible. The president has a structure inside the White House with three folks who are predominantly in charge of operations at the White House, Mr. Bannon, Mr. Kushner, and Mr. Priebus. And so I can't read minds as to whose primary responsibility this was for this, but that doesn't matter. That's the Washington game of who are we going to blame. I think anyone who looks at this knows that it could have been and should have been done better. Right. We just see when people with green cards were being denied entry that this didn't happen the right way. So if you do have that name and you've read my mind, John, Governor, you say it.
I don't have it, but I do have a commercial I've got to go to. Governor, thanks so much for being with us.